Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar dedicated to DSpace 7. I think we can start now, and I hope you can see and hear us well. My name is Magda Sochacka, and at PCG Academia, I'm responsible for international development, and I will be responsible for moderating this webinar today. We are broadcasting from unusually hot Warsaw, so I hope you are at places with more comfortable temperatures. And well, if not, we can definitely join you in the heat misery. Let me first present the agenda for today's webinar. Since we are meeting with many of you for the first time, I will start with a short introduction to PCG Academia as a company. And then for those who are less familiar with this space, I will also say a few words, introductory words about the software. And with those words, I will open the main panel discussion with Piotr Masalski. Piotr is the Director of Research Information Management Systems at PCG Academia. And with Piotr, we'll talk about the DSpace 7, current research information systems, and DSpace implementation case studies. And finally, at the end of the webinar, Łukasz Danak, our colleague from PCG, will show you a demo of a highly customized repository based on DSpace 7. And we hope that this demo might give you some inspiration and food for thought on how the DSpace 7 based repository can look like at your organization. The entire webinar will be recorded and will be later posted on YouTube and PCG's Academia website. And I encourage you to share the recording with your colleagues. And I also strongly encourage you to participate in the webinar by asking questions on the chat. And we have reserved some time at the end of the webinar to responding to those questions. So let me first say a few words about us as PCG Academia. We deliver IT and consulting services to universities in Poland and internationally. We are part of a bigger entity, an American company, Public Consulting Group, and PCG has over 35 years of history and $600 million of revenue. And in Poland, together with Librus, our sister company, we form the biggest edtech group and serve over 8,000 schools and over 60 universities. We partner with several global higher ed organizations like Times Higher Education, Blackboard, that is now part of Anthology, and Inspera. However, in the context of today's discussion, the most important is our partnership with Lyrasis. And Lyrasis is a non-profit organization that supplies DSpace open source technology and also manages the user community. And PCG Academia, as a certified partner of Lyrasis, delivers various services around DSpace, including migrations, integrations, and customizations. In general, we have a portfolio of over 20 solutions divided into two main categories. Under EduCloud brand, we deliver systems and applications that support management of the entire student lifecycle, including SIS systems, recruitment and career office tools, LMS systems, and also solutions for electronic exams. And under Science Cloud brand, we deliver applications for recording, analysis, and reporting of scientific data in the context of countrywide evaluation process. And we also deliver a system for scientific employees' performance assessment and the services around DSpace that I have mentioned before. So moving on to the main topic of today, which is DSpace. Well, what is DSpace? DSpace is the most popular digital repository software in the world. It is currently used by over 3,000 institutions globally, including top universities like Princeton, Cambridge, and Humboldt University. And most often, DSpace is used as an open access and research management tool by academic libraries and other higher education institutions. The software itself was designed in 2002 by MIT and Hewlett-Packard, but now it is developed and maintained by an international community of companies and experts, and that community is coordinated by Lyrasis. And the current hot topic is the newest version of the system, which is the DSpace 7. It took longer to develop than previous versions, but also compared to them, it offers much wider set of capabilities. It is practically a new solution, and what it means is that DSpace is now highly customizable and can be better adjusted to specific needs of organizations that use it to manage their publications and research activity. This is just a few words about DSpace, and we'll definitely go into more detail in our discussion with Piotr. And to this discussion, I would like to move right now. So Piotr, it is a fact that DSpace is by far the most popular repository in use in the world. But how is DSpace currently used at universities in Europe, and what versions do you see as most commonly used?
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Magda, for your question. As you've already mentioned, with more than 3,000 active installations and over 30% of the global market share, in more than 120 countries, DSpace is actually by far the most widely used repository in the world. Now, when there is a breakpoint with the 7th version, these numbers, I think, will grow even more. But coming back to your question, it is a fact that we still have a lot of older versions, not only 6th, but 5th, 4th, or even older. It is extremely worth mentioning that the end of life of these versions will be next year. You are probably wondering what it really means. To be honest, it means that the support for them is going to end. As DSpace is, of course, a good piece of software, most of these repositories will still work. However, there will be no bug fixes and security updates. Fortunately, though, the 7th version is stable now, so I definitely recommend you to think about an update right now.
Thank you, Piotr, for this explanation. So moving on to the hot topic, what's new in DSpace 7 and how can the new functionalities translate into better management of research activity at an institution?
Okay, first of all, I think the technology. Thanks to Angular framework, it is now highly customizable and can be better adjusted to some specific needs when it comes, for instance, to the graphical issues. What is very important, the backend of the system is still based on traditional Java language that is fully compatible with the old data model that was used in the previous versions of DSpace. But now it has full REST API that gives us more flexibility. Second of all, I think that the user interface, it is now very smooth and easy to use, especially in the deposit form. We have drag and drop, easily upload process, customizable workflows, and let's say a ton of widgets. For instance, duplicates detections, license selections, assistance, and these are all very useful. Finally, it's now very easy to integrate DSpace with other systems via the REST API I have already mentioned before.
Actually, I would like to talk about those integrations a bit more. Could you tell something more about the benefits of those integrations? What type of integrations are possible, and which ones of them make for the most valuable use cases for universities and other institutions that use DSpace?
Yes, of course. Ever since it was launched, DSpace 7 offers you very significant integrations out of the box, such as, for instance, OLI PMH, that is responsible for data harvesting. For example, it is used by Google Scholar. The second one is, of course, OrcID integration. But actually, it is a very good timing for your question right now, because yesterday, it was the 26th of June, we had 7.3 version being released. Of course, this shows that the piece of system development is very fast. So now let's try to list the most important available integrations. Most of them have just came with this 7.3 version. This would be Crossref. It helps you while depositing new publications. Then, for instance, Scopus, Web of Science, PubMed. These can also improve your forms experience. However, let's not stop with the publications themselves. For instance, we can also collect data from European Patent Office. Finally, there is now even more sophisticated integration with OrcID based on user profile migrations. It's obvious that all of these integrations significantly facilitate the use of the system on a daily basis. They just do a large part of the work for us.
I think that's very good to hear from the point of universities that, well, thanks to integrations, there can be less of the manual work and also less errors that are made when we have to copy the data manually. And now I'd like to move on the very important and I think widely discussed topic of international repositories versus CRIS systems. So how do those two types of systems differ from one another? And can actually one system be both? And I think the most importantly, can DSpace 7 do that actually?
Yes, that's a good question, Magda. As some of you might know, there is also a CRIS distribution of DSpace. It extends the standards DSpace features with the support for decentralized and self-service researcher profile management. Moreover, it integrates with dozens of external data sources to retrieve these bibliographic and bibliometric data of publications and, of course, the scientists. In short, it can be said that it gives us the opportunity to move from the publication level to the relations between objects such as implemented projects or grants. If we take care of the appropriate mapping of the departmental structure of the university, together with a good strategy, it is possible to extend the institutional repository to fully functional current research information system based on DSpace. To prove that, we prepared a demo version that you will be able to see today.
Thank you, Piotr, for this explanation. I think it's a very interesting topic and definitely worth discussing and exploring from the point of view of universities. We as PCG Academia carried out DSpace migration project for Jagiellonian University, which is the top one university in Poland. So could you tell our audience more about this project and what was the value of the project, what continues to be the value of the project to the university?
Okay, before I begin, I would like to say that when it comes to research information management systems, PCG Academia works with a great amount of educational institutions of all sizes, from large universities to small regional schools. I can share with you some details of the case study of Jagiellonian University that is actually a top one in Poland. The university has been using DSpace repository since 2014. It stores close to 250,000 records. Almost one third of those include the full text publications. The repository is highly integrated with the internal IT systems such as ERP, research information management, student information system, and of course external ones like Orcid, Google Scholar, and Sherpa Romeo. Just after the DSpace 7 was released, the Jagiellonian University decided to start the migration process with PCG Academia. After just a few weeks, we were ready with some collections being already migrated to the 7th version, which was, of course, a perfect proof of concept for us. To be honest, I must say that it was a very smooth process and the obvious evidence that DSpace 7 is now grown enough to handle such a big data sets.
Thank you, Piotr, for describing that project. So this is but an example of a project that we can carry out for the university. But in general, what services can PCG Academia offer around DSpace, and what unique capabilities are in our offer? If you could share something about that with the audience, that would be great.
Yes, of course. I would like to start my answer with telling you that cooperating with a trust provider might be very important for your project. Of course, due to the fact that DSpace is an open source software, it is very easy to install from the scratch, adjust it a little bit, and launch your repository in a very short time. I sincerely encourage you to make such an attempt and take the advantage of all of the benefits of open software and, of course, the DSpace community. However, when it comes to more sophisticated projects, you should definitely consider working with a certified supplier that would help you with the different stages of your project. Starting with building specification, working with qualified user experience experts, creating unique graphic designs, and of course, building custom modules and integrations. So to sum up, whatever you want to start with a fresh installation of DSpace, move to the newest version of DSpace 7, or you are simply looking for some technical assistance, we can help you with each of these challenges. At PCG Academia, besides being a certified partner of Lyrasis, we always try to do a little bit more. What I think you are going to see on Łukasz's presentation in a few moments.
Thank you, Piotr, for your response. It sounds like we can indeed do a lot for universities with DSpace. And now I would like to, because like systems can be talked about, but a lot. But I think it's nice to actually see them working in practice. So we have prepared a demo for you, which would actually shows you how DSpace 7 based repository can look like. So I'll now invite Łukasz Danak from our team, and he will show you a demo that we've built based on DSpace 7 with some custom-made features by PCG Academia. So Łukasz, the floor is yours now.
Good afternoon. My name is Łukasz Danak and I am consultant with PCG Academia. Today I would like to show you a demo of DSpace 7. In my presentation, I'll show you new features of DSpace 7, some interesting functions, and how to navigate through the repository interfaces. My demo will be based on DSpace 7 environment, created and enhanced by PCG Academia. The environment is built on the DSpace 7 CRIS version, so you'll see some functionalities pertaining to CRIS rather than to a typical institutional repository. We only have about 15 minutes, so I'll focus on several specific areas. And first, I would like to show you customized homepage with several interesting interactive widgets and browsing options. Then I will move to advanced search results with filtering feature. And next, I will take you through publication, user profile, institution, and project pages. And finally, I will log in as internal user to show you the back office user interface. And I'll do this to show you how easy it is to use DSpace every day.
So let me start with the home page. At the top of the page, you can see the summary of data collected in the repository. You can see the number of publications, projects, and other research output metrics. You can also see profiles of researchers and institutions' organizational units. DSpace 7 allows you to store and identify various kinds of data, including patents, datasets, dissertations, and many more. All data that are possible to add are compatible with core vocabularies. As I mentioned before, we are presenting the DSpace 7 CRIS version, which is compatible with the serif standard recommended by European Union. Here, you can see the search bar, and I will get back to it later on. Now, let's take a look at the widgets that are displayed here. They were created by PCG Academia as a custom feature. In this example, starting from the left, we have the most viewed scientific output, the most influential scientists, and the most popular publications. Those are just examples, as data presented in each result could be adjusted and modified. We can, for instance, show scientific metrics and data imported through integration from external sources like altmetrics. You can see it on the screen now. This area and the whole homepage can be customized depending on the specific needs and could be easily modified to better reflect the character of your organization. Below the widgets, we have some custom statistics for disciplines referring to different types of publications, people, and units. Those statistics could be easily used for comparison of research outputs between the organizational units, for example, in relation to Sustainable Development Goals. Here on the right, we can see basic statistics about users' activity in the repository. We have downloads and views, as well as the number of items from each entity deposited in a repository. That overview shows very well how popular are items from repository and what kind of entities are deposited there. Now, let's scroll up to the top. Our search bar is located at the top of the homepage. It is customized to save you time while you are searching for research outputs, specific publications, units, infrastructure, and scientists. When I click on it, it expands into a full screen mode that can display, for example, most searched phrases or other shortcuts. When searching, we can either enter a specific phrase or just choose one of those on the screen by clicking it. The system instantly shows results of the search through all data collected in our repository. The results include not only publications, but as you can see now, also the profiles of researchers and projects related to the topic. Let's expand some filters located on the left-hand side that can be used to narrow down the search results. I choose type, journal article, and for example, a date period between 2015 and 2022 to get to the results I'm looking for. This is just one example how the new technologies used in DSpace 7 provide instant feedback and smooth user experience. Every search result can be customized to display the data important for a particular item that, for instance, differs for publication and other research output. DSpace 7 repository can display standard bibliometric indicators that are available through integration with external databases such as Scopus and Web of Science. It can also show additional alternative metrics that allow you to study the social perception of this publication using the altmetrics tools, as in the example on your screen. The entire view can be easily modified to meet the requirements of the organization. Now, let's move to the publication. On this page, we get access to all the information about that particular publication. Of course, all the data could just as well be shown as metadata in the standardized schema like Dublin Core. It is worth mentioning that we are able to see all the relations between this publication and other entities related to it, the authors, the institutions of authors, projects, etc. Scrolling down to the metrics area, we can analyze some statistics like views and downloads, as well as traditional bibliometrics from Scopus and Web of Science. Moreover, we can easily integrate alternative bibliometrics like altmetric, dimensions, and plumex. Let's click now on one of our authors. On authors page, we can see the basic contact information, but also profiles of author integrated from external sources, for example, Scopus, Web of Science, or Orcid. Below, you can see the research outputs, such as publications and projects of this researcher, and filter them in the same way as the search results. Filters can be used in many different ways. For example, you can use them to search for people with whom a specific researcher cooperated on projects or publications. Similar to the publications view, you can see the number of views on the author's profile. If you are interested in some additional details of an author, you can scroll to his biography, information about interests, languages spoken, as well as his employment and education history. Most of the researchers are affiliated with an organization. In DSpace 7 CRIS, you can easily navigate to the information on all of those affiliations. Now, let's quickly move to the organization profile. We see basic information about the unit, its sub-organizations, but also publications, projects, and people affiliated with it. I would like to point out that thanks to DSpace 7 CRIS various integrations, all elements of the repository are interconnected and easy to switch between. For example, you can go to the projects and see all the projects related to the organization. When you click on the name of a project, you are taken to the projects page where you can see some more detailed information. Projects organizations, people, and statistics. Let's move to the project. We see some basic information about project, relations with people involved in a project, and organizations that take part in a project. In the Outputs tab, we can see publications that were created as a result of a project. As I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, in order to access the administrator panel, you need to log in into the repository. Logging in will allow you to perform administrative actions in the back office, such as adding and editing publications, projects, and scientist data. It also gives you access to permissions management and workflows. Due to the limited time, we will now focus on depositing simple item in open access to show you how easy it is to cope with DSpace 7 interfaces for scientists of your organizations, administrators, and library employees. Now, I would like to take you through the whole process of adding a publication. We go to Management sidebar on the left, we click on New, Item, and we choose Test Publication Collection. Thanks to its integration with external database, DSpace 7 CRIS can simplify your work of providing items data. As you can see on the screen now, there are quite a few integrations available already, and the portfolio is still expanding. The integrations allow you to retrieve some information about the publication from a certain source. They also allow for data interoperability. For example, data entered in one place can be used in another through integration interfaces prepared by DSpace. I will now demonstrate the process of aggregating data by providing the OI number. As you can see, With one click, you have the most of data transferred from external global database. This allows you to save a lot of manual work and avoid errors that can be committed with manual data entry. When it comes to the authors, we can add those that already have profiles in the local database and see the icons showing their affiliation. This also allows us to improve efficiency when filling in a publication form. DSpace 7 CRIS is also integrated with Orcid Database, which makes it possible to quickly select authors whose profiles have not yet been created in the repository and connect profiles between these two databases. All the integrated profiles are also marked with Orcid icon, as we can see on the list here. Let's imagine that the publication was created as a part of the project and it has some related datasets. That information could be easily added in DSpace 7 CRIS using the extended field form. As you can see, you can just click Add More and then Publication References, and now you can just choose any relation between two entities in DSpace 7. Below, you can specify under what kind of license a publication should be published. DSpace offers an easy tool for users who are not well versed in the legal aspects of publishing. Clicking on Creative Commons expands the list of the options. Then, the person submitting the publication only has to answer a few simple questions. As you can see, upon answering the questions, the CC license is automatically assigned to the publication, together with the link to terms and conditions that is generated automatically. The repository contains a mechanism that is able to detect duplicates of publications. If DOI number or title of a publication is the same as another one, the system displays information about a potential duplicate. The person submitting the publication should review the information and decide if it is indeed a duplicate and either go back to the form or discard new submission. In our case here, I know that the new publication is not a duplicate. That's why I click It's not a duplicate and go further. To complete my submission, I need to add our publication file. I can drag and drop the file anywhere on the website or click Browse at the top of the page and upload it manually. Then I need to accept the repository license and tick the checkbox to confirm it. Finally, we should decide if we want to save or deposit an item. Clicking the Save button will temporarily store an item in order to put it into the workflow. Hitting the Deposit button will start the publication publishing process and the publication will be sent to the review. Our deposited publication is available on the list of publications on your submission screen. Once you click on it, the publication is shown and you can see all the data that you have imported by adding existing DOI number and later adjusted as I have demonstrated before. That concludes our demo and what we have prepared for you today. Thank you for joining us.
Indeed, thank you, and also thank you, Łukasz, for this demo presentation. I think we've seen just how rich in functionality, easy to use, and also, well, aesthetically pleasing a repository can be. And I hope you, our audience, found our demo indeed interesting and got a better idea out of it, how a migration to DSpace can enhance the publications and research activity management at your university. And I see we have some questions from you. So now I'd like to move to those. So first question we have is how long does an implementation take, and is the time affected by customizations that we require?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for this question. I expected that one. Of course, it depends on the complexity of the implementation, additional modules to be developed, and the integrations to be done. As I said, the MVP, or let's call it a proof of concept, can be done in a few weeks, even in a very vast university. However, when there are some sophisticated brand book to be covered, some graphical guidelines, it can be a few months as well, I
think. Thank you. I see another one. Typically, CRIS systems are compatible with the serif standard, while institutional repositories use Dublin Core. So, is this issue resolved with DSpace 7?
Okay, there is some thesis in this question, and I think it's right. When it comes to repository, of course, DC, which stands for Dublin Core, is a standard that is very good when you want to describe publications, and not only publication, you can use DC for other items as well. But of course, when we move to the current research information system, we need some kind of other standard to fully describe infrastructure, to describe patents, to describe projects, and then there is a serif. It is developed by maybe not developed, but it's maintained by the European Union, and it's a very good standard that DSpace 7 in its CRIS release it's fully compatible with. You can export all of the entities that are based on DSpace 7 into a serif model, and you can start building your CRIS repository, of course, on serif with DSpace 7 in this release.
Thank you, Piotr, for that explanation. Another question: what are the release plans for DSpace after the 7th version that is now available?
Okay. The maintenance of the 7th version is, of course, planned in a product roadmap. We will have another release this year. It's gonna be October, and from the roadmap, probably 2 or 3 more releases the next year. Regardless, there is already an additional roadmap for the 8th version. And what is very important and interesting, you can be a part of it. I haven't mentioned a lot about the DSpace community, but it's very important that it works. It probably works in your country. You have some national DSpace group that can help you to just be a part of it, and it allows you to participate in this planning and developing of this DSpace software.
Thank you. Another question we have around migration. So how does a migration look like? And do you set up a new instance of the system or upgrade the existing one?
You can do both. It would depend on the complexity of the system itself. If you have a clean installation based on, it doesn't really matter if it's 4th, 5th, or the 6th version. You can convert the data and do the migration process just as it is on your database. But when you have some modification, especially when you modified the core, you added some modules, you have some custom graphical implementation, you should consider building it maybe not from the scratch, but starting from a clean installation and building these modules again in the different technology. As I said, it's completely different. It's based on Angular framework. in front end, and it's based on still Java, but a little bit different version. It's still, of course, compatible with a good development team. You can do it as well. Of course, as I said and as I recommended before, it's very good to have some cooperation with a good supplier that could help you with this process and plan it from the beginning with the specification and so on. That should guide you through this process and advise you to choose a good way to do this.
Thank you. I see another question, and well, I encourage you to add more because we still have some time left. But the one that I have is, when exactly is the date for the version 5 end of life?
Okay. This end of life is planned to be the end of this year, as I remember, with the 5th version. And what is more important, because we have a lot of repositories based on the 6th version, for this, it's gonna be, I think, around half of the year next year. I think that the last day of June is the end of life of the 6th version. It's very important. We have a lot of 6th versions repositories still working. So I should recommend migration to the 7th version also for them, not only for the 5th version users.
Thank you. I don't see any more questions for now, so I think this is the last moment to ask them. It looks like we kind of sprinted through what we prepared for you today. We give you the 15 minutes back, actually. So I hope that you can be happy with that. And I do hope that you found this webinar interesting. Thank you very much for your participation. And I do hope that you also got some ideas to take back to your organizations about migration of DSpace 7 or actually fresh implementation of the system. I remind you that the webinar was recorded, and the recording will be available on our website and also on YouTube in a few days. So you can share that with your colleagues. And if you are interested in hearing more about our services or have any additional questions that you haven't asked today, please contact us directly. We'll be happy to answer all your questions or schedule a meeting with you to talk about your specific needs. So thank you so much again. And okay, I have another questions. So before I actually finish, I see question, would it be easy to adapt DSpace to other languages? So Piotr, if you could comment on that.
Yes, actually it is very easy. DSpace is available from out of the box with a bunch of languages, of course, Spanish, German, French, English. We as a PCG Academia can also help you with this. We contributed a Polish language version. If you are a more technical, it's based on i18n engine, so it's really easy to develop a version no matter the language.
And next question, regarding the statistics, would it be possible to obtain data on views or downloads between periods, dates, or group them, for example, by authors, by communities, or by sub-communities?
Okay, that's a little bit difficult one, but I will try to answer. the mechanism that is standard in DSpace, of course, can obtain the statistics. You can use this data, and you can use this data the way you suggested here. I think I would have to get into details because the question is very, very specific. It mentions some periods, dates, and groups, and of course, statistics for the communities. But I can undoubtedly say that it is possible. It might require some additional development, but of course, you can do this. As the versions grow of the DSpace, you've probably seen when you're familiar with this roadmap and this process that the statistics issues are okay. I mean that in the 7.2, yes, in 7.2 version, we got some statistic based on the countries. You can see a beautiful map, for instance. So regarding your question, yes, of course, it would be possible. You can use this data in some other dimensions. For example, this one you mentioned here.
Thank you, Piotr. It indeed sounded complicated, but it looks like we can do complicated things as well. So I don't see any more questions right now, and I think now is the time to really say goodbye again. Thank you for being with us. I hope you found the webinar interesting, and hope to hear from you, and that we'll stay in touch. And goodbye, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much as well.